You want my notes?
Yeah.
They gave me notes. I said, I'm not Biden. I don't need notes.
Okay.
This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer. That's beautiful. Think Biden could get into that car? I like is that one.
And how does this work?
And I want that same color. I love Tesla.
The president and his tech support, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, turning the White House lawn into a showroom for Tesla after the president made good on his promise to buy one of the electric cars, a show of support for his Doge captain, whose company has become a target of left-wing violent protests. Watch.
I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. And I just want people to know that you can't be penalized for being a patriot. And he's a great patriot. In the time I've known him, he has never asked me for a favor. He didn't ask me for this. I said, you know, Elon, I don't like what's happening to you. This man is a great patriot, and you should cherish him. You should cherish him. You know, I have a little statement. We have to take care of our high IQ people because we don't have too many of them.
Judge, this is a show of friendship and loyalty. Loyalty goes both ways, and this was a real public showing of this is a good car, this is a good man.
Yeah, you know, it's very Donald Trump. I mean, from the beginning. I mean, if he could help someone, he will do it. And, you know, there's no question. Look, Elon Musk is not in politics. He's not used to this. I mean, you know, he's in the business world, but I mean, he is despised. They are, you know, throwing Molotov cocktails into parking lots. He's lost billions because he's not able to really focus on his own business. So he's suffering a lot. He's taking a lot of attacks, suffering financially. He's physically exhausted. I mean, he hasn't stopped. So, you know, the president is like, you know, doing him a solid and saying, look, you know, this guy is helping us. Look, Doge is very important to this government and to what the president is trying to do to the economy that was totally destroyed by Joe Biden. I mean, we've got this $2 trillion yearly deficit. And I keep hearing people say that the interest rate is higher than our Department of Defense spending, and so you know we're in a bit of a tough time economically, and you know Elon Musk is doing everything he can to help the president.
One thing that I thought earlier today was that if I were them, I would keep the focus more on Biden for a little while, right? You can ride that a little bit because you inherited this situation. He went back to it a little bit today, but just as a reminder of what people had.
Well, yeah, I think because you're talking about a transition.
Yeah. And
I think the media is trying to paint this as a shock to the system. And what Trump is doing is trying to remind you what was there before. Mm-hmm. And you would think that, like, Democrats would go for this because they love a good transition. However, this one, it just isn't absurd enough for their liking. You know, they're good with little boys, turn them into little girls, fossil fuels, you know, into wind power, red meat, no, eat insects. All of those transitions are categorically insane. But here is actually a practical, real transition where you're taking a system that is corrupt and wasteful and you're trying to make it better. And what do? We need to set fire with Tesla dealerships. And the judge is right. Like, they're also claiming that somehow Musk is in this for himself. This guy's risking the bankruptcy of his company to prevent the bankruptcy of his country. And the media is, again, choosing the wrong path. It's almost a parallel to what they did with the cover-up of Biden. When they covered up Biden, that was to make the Dems look better and bad for Trump. Then they try to destroy Elon, so the Dems look better and it's bad for Trump. But they always shift this codependent alliance against something that is positive for the country, because if it's positive for the country, it doesn't help the Democrats.
It's not good for them.
Yeah.
President Trump also answered some questions on the recent turmoil in the stock market. Of course, there are fears of recession and tariffs. Let's listen.
I think our country had to do this. We had to go and do this. They've taken away other countries have taken away our business. They've taken away our jobs. You're going to have drops and markets are going to go up and they're going to go down.
Yeah.
But you know what? We have to rebuild our country. Our country has been stripped of its jobs, of its factories, and I'm very optimistic. I have to tell you, I'm very optimistic about the country. Much more optimistic this way than if I did it the easy way.
Yeah.
I could have done it the easy way. I could have coasted. Biden left us a mess. Right now, we're like a chicken that's being plucked at from all over the world. We're not going to let that happen anymore.
Do you think there will be a recession?
I don't see it at all. I think this country is going to boom. I think we're going to have an economy that's a real economy, not a fake economy.
The chicken analogy was a good one.
Yeah, and egg prices are down, Jessica. How'd that happen? Oh, I guess we stopped slaughtering all of the chickens. Stocks were pretty good under Joe Biden because he slept all day. Market loves certainty. He made no news, took no action, and the market took off. And that's fine. But it didn't help the American worker one bit. American worker got crushed by migrants and inflation. And that's why Trump was elected, to come in and fix that, to help Main Street. Not Wall Street. Wall Street's going to be fine. Wall Street's always fine, especially during globalization. And that was good. You know, we had a lot of multinational companies in this country do very well. Stock market was roaring. Prices were low. But there was also a downside. We lost 100,000 manufacturing plants, millions of jobs. But there was something more. The fabric of the nation was destroyed. Because what does it mean when you lose a job if you're a man? Maybe you lose your wife. Maybe you turn to drugs. These towns in middle America were ripped apart. And that's why Trump was elected in 2016. And he did make a lot of progress there. But then COVID hit. And we realized that we needed to get these supply chains back domestically, because it's an issue of national security. So that's what he's trying to do. And the market does not like the uncertainty. And I understand that. It's unpredictable. But the goal is to bring key supply chains back to this country and use tariffs the same way Nixon did, Reagan did, Bush did, to restore the manufacturing base in this country so we have steel to make ships, so we can make medicine, so we make automobiles here, and we have good paying jobs that boost wages. And we control the border, we stop government spending that reduces inflation, and that's what you call a real economy. And these are tough decisions he's making, and he's making them because he's not running for re-election. He doesn't care about the politics. He's doing tough stuff that politicians usually don't do because it's unpopular, but it's in the long-term interest of the American economy.
Jessica, what do you think of that?
It was beautiful. It was largely inaccurate, but it was a
Which
beautiful
part?
one. All of it?
Name one part.
That your wife leaves you if you lose your job. It's a pretty crappy marriage. I
Have
guess.
you seen what
Okay.
happened to the heartland? With
They're
the
all
drugs
single dudes now?
and the unemployment levels?
Okay.
It's why Obama was such a bad president. He had to bring Trump in to fix it.
Okay. So if Trump was thinking about the future, the beautiful future of the country, then he would be looking at that spending bill that Mike Johnson put forward, which is going to add, what, $7 trillion to the deficit. And he'd be saying, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe my friends don't need a tax cut. Maybe this should be more evenly distributed. Maybe we should help out the little guy and give them a tax cut instead of the people who paid to get me in there. And you say, he's doing Elon Musk a solid. Elon Musk spent $290 million to get him elected. He owes Elon Musk that car commercial, which maybe it's an ethics violation. Even the strongest allies of the president don't like these tariffs. They might think it's possible to use them at smaller levels, 5%, 10%, but the tariff whiplash is destroying us. You look at the market tanking, and I thought Peter Doocy had a great point earlier on today, our very own Peter Doocy, where he said they want federal workers to take the buyout. They want them to retire, but they're sinking their retirement accounts. And Caroline Leavitt is standing up there at the podium, and she's just either she doesn't know how a tariff works or she's lying to the people. She said tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries and a tax cut for the American people. And then a reporter, I think from the AP, so they got back in the room, said, have you ever paid a tariff? I have. They don't get charged on foreign countries. And then she went Trumpian. She goes, I think it's insulting that you're trying to test my knowledge on economics. I'll test your knowledge on economics, Jesse.
Go.
Are tariffs a tax on the American consumer?
If you have a tariff
No.
on a product, Jessica,
Yeah,
Don't do
what
the
that
yes or
does
no
is
thing.
it makes
Why?
American
stupid.
workers
It's not.
richer.
This is
Because
what's
then you
stupid.
buy American and you bring American plants back to this country.
Listen.
That's the point. And every
the point-
president has done it, and it's usually
No.
resulted in bringing jobs
He
back.
has had
Did you
the
know
worst
that
50
Richard
days
Nixon
of an American
did you know
presidency
that Richard
for the market
Nixon literally
since 2009. And 2009 we were in a recession.
began the pickup truck industry in this country because of a tariff on the Europeans. Did you know that Reagan slapped tariffs on Japan, ended up triggering
Did anyone
a
slap tariffs on
semiconductor renaissance
Canada?
in this country?
On Canada.
He is protecting American industries.
From
Why
the
do we rely
Canadians?
on Canada for energy anyway? And that's part of the problem.
Do you
we
think
need
this
to
is the
bring
right way?
manufacturing into this country, and countries are buckling. Big corporations are buckling. They're talking about coming here because they don't want to be taxed. This is going to benefit the American worker, American manufacturing, and domestic production, and it's going to preserve jobs. So stop with the tariffs. It's the leverage that we need to protect them. No. I'm glad he did what he did with Canada because
you have enough money to survive
No, that's not the point.
Wanna-
This is look, it's going to float all boats. Come on, Jessica.
Really?
The truth is that this is something that's going to benefit all Americans when we've got more jobs here and we've got all kinds of foreign money coming into this country. We saw it in the press conferences, $500 billion like one day. They can't wait to come here and set
What
up
about
shop.
the tax breaks that I talked about?
You know what?
Are those
We're
lifting all boats?
Right now, we're trying to clean up Joe Biden's mess. Okay? 4 years of a disaster that we've got to clean up. He could do what Joe Biden did and just float along, or what other presidents do. He said, I'm going to clean up this mess. It's not an easy job. I'm going to take the hit, but I'm going to bring business back.
He's
and
not
he will.
taking any hit.
Just two quick things. One, you don't pay a tax on something you don't buy. That's the whole point of tariffs. You end up buying something here. Number two, the biggest tax we experienced was the inflation. We printed more money. What was it, like 40% of our entire currency in history in the last 4 years was printed. That was inflation.
Can I just say one more thing to Jessica while I have her here?
I'm going to be here the whole hour, unfortunately, for everyone.
Why don't you ever talk to other countries and ask them to lower their tariffs?
I'd be happy to.
No, but you never
Make us a
mention
deal,
that.
guys. Yes,
Why
I do.
don't criticize them once?
You never talk
It's
about
always
other
been-
countries.
Oh, this
He's
is my
trying to level
favorite.
the playing field. That's what this is.
Jessica's anti-American. I got it.
I would
now.
say also AP didn't lose their seat in the briefing room. It was just it's about the pool,
Okay.
which is a little bit different.